Hello and good day to wherever you're joining from around the world. Today I'm going to start with a story. And the story I'm going to share with you is going to have you reflect on the idea of your true origins and what it means to reflect your highest sense of identity. It's a story that's inspired by a writer, Dorothy Reiki, and retold in one of her publications. I've taken some creative liberties here for the sake of clarity and brevity for my audience. So here we go. There once was a young prince who, when just a little kid, wandered outside the palace walls and into the woods where a gypsy band happened to be passing through. Unsure what to do with this little fellow wandering in the woods, the gypsies carried off the boy with them and raised him as one of their own. Soon enough, the young boy began to speak the gypsy language, dressed like them, and took a deep tan from roaming the outdoors from country to country. To anyone that might have laid eyes upon him, the boy was a gypsy, almost indistinguishable from the band that raised him. And he too thought that he was gypsy, for as the years went on, he forgot the story of his true origin. That is until one day his gypsy band returned to the same territory of the palace, and the little boy was noticed by a courtier who happened to be a dear friend of the king. The king's friend could hardly believe his eyes when he saw this young man. Despite the young man's dress, tan complexion, and exotic mannerisms, he bore a striking resemblance to the king. The courtier went up to the young man to get a closer look at him, and looking at him up and down, the courtier asked him, "Young man, do you know who you are?" The young man thought, "What a strange question," and responded, "Of course I do," and gave his gypsy name. The courtier then responded, "Ah, but is that your real name? For I believe I know the truth about you. You are the son of the great king." The young man looked at him quizzically and thought, "He must be crazy or drunk. He must be mistaken. I'm gypsy. That's all I've ever been." The courtier responded, "You only appear to be, but this is the truth of who you are. You think yourself to be a gypsy because the material evidence suggests that you are gypsy. But in truth, you have forgotten your origin. When you realize the truth of who you are, all other imagined identities will fall away, for there is no higher identity worth claiming. Follow me, and I'll show you." The young man was skeptical but curious, and so off he went with the courtier to the palace. As the young man stepped into the grand palace doors, the great king sat up on his throne and lit up with joy. He stepped forward with open arms to embrace the return of his lost son. The prince now saw for himself the deeper truth. This whole time, he was the son of the great king, heir to the kingdom, and he did not even know it. As he embraced his father, he declared, "Indeed, I am image and likeness of my father, the king." What does the story tell us about character and integrity? In part 2 of the integrity series, I started off with a question. Can you develop integrity like you develop a muscle? Now in this video, I pose a different question. What if you already have all the highest qualities of integrity and character within you? In other words, what if it's not so much about what you get to develop or refine about yourself, as it is about you, 1, remembering who you truly are, and then 2, reflecting these incredible qualities into the world. Let's start with the first one. Remember who you truly are. Now let's start with the very beginning of another great book. In Genesis 1, it was written, "And God created man in his own image. Image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them." A few millennia later, one of Jesus' apostles, John, wrote in a letter to the early members of a new faith, "Beloved, now we are the sons of God, and it does not yet appear what we shall be, but we know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him." John is reminding us of our divine attributes, inherent to us as the spiritual children of God. He concedes that while no one has ever seen God, and therefore we cannot make a material comparison to him, if we love one another, God lives in us, and his love is made complete in us. In other words, we perfect, express, and reveal the divine when we love one another. And isn't it love that's the very foundation of integrity and character? One cannot be a person of integrity or character if love does not occupy the very center of one's heart. As the wise King Solomon articulated in Proverbs, as water reflects the face, so heart reflects the man. Or as Jesus once said, the mouth speaks what the heart is full of. When we acknowledge the divine attributes that are infused within our DNA, we can express, reveal, and perfect what is within us. In life, we can either reflect the limited, mortal, or sense-bound DNA of our human parentage, or reflect the DNA, the divine, natural attributes of our spiritual heritage. Many religious traditions have a list of lofty qualities that they attribute to God. These are the divine, natural attributes of the Most High that we get to become familiar with in order to know and express the transcendent truth of existence through us. Half of my family is Muslim, and so I've lived in various Muslim countries growing up. So the 99 names of God was a very familiar concept to me. Yet I wonder, does God need us to glorify Him with 99 names? At some point it dawned on me, God is self-sovereign. So whether we glorify Him or not, I don't think that's God's primary concern. I mean, I'm sure God appreciates it if we do, but it doesn't add to or remove anything of God's completeness if we don't. Instead, what if these names or qualities are for us to reflect the most beautiful and divine qualities so that we recognize and activate and demonstrate them in our lives? In this way, we reveal our spiritual DNA as we express godliness or goodliness into the world. The 12th century Islamic philosopher, jurist, and theologian Al-Ghazali wrote an interesting treatise on this idea when he reflects on the 99 names or qualities of God. In chapter 4 of his work, Al-Ghazali explains that perfection and happiness of man consists in conforming to the perfections of the Most High, and in adorning himself in the meanings of his attributes and names, insofar as he is able. He continues, acquire whatever is possible of these attributes, to imitate them, and be adorned with their good qualities, for in this way man becomes lordly, that is, close to the Lord Most High. Now, I can't help but see the similarity of this idea to what Socrates and Plato put forth about 1500 years prior to Al-Ghazali, when they urged their fellow Athenians to contemplate the qualities of the soul within oneself. Because it is this part of us which, they say, resembles God, and whoever examines this part within oneself and comes to know all that is divine will thereby gain knowledge of oneself. Likewise, Apostle Paul shares a similar idea in his second letter to the Corinthians when he wrote in the 1st century, all of us, with our faces uncovered, show the shining greatness of the Lord as in a mirror. All the time we are being changed to look like Him, with more and more of His shining greatness. Isn't it remarkable that each of these traditions, alongside many others with origins in different parts of the world and different times in history, are all saying something so remarkably similar about the divine? Know the heavenly qualities, and you will know the highest qualities within yourself. Now let's move on to the second point. Reflect divine qualities in your actions. Jesus presents us with a challenge in the middle of his Sermon on the Mount. Be perfect, just as your heavenly Father is perfect. To be perfect is a tall order, and to all of us who aren't perfect, this can seem like mission impossible. But what is more possible is the art of practicing perfection. We get to practice perfection through the principle of degrees, or the 1 in 60 rule that I cover in part 2 of the Integrity series. In this way, we gradually become more precise in our thinking and actions. I'll link the video at the end of this video so that you can have a refresher. Prayer, which is an affirmation of truth, can also assist our efforts and keep us aligned in thought and action. While on a recent trip home to Washington, D.C., I visited a church where some of the members of my family attend. My stepfather invited me down to one of the rooms in the church where a reader prepares in silent prayer. In this quiet, peaceful room, he handed me a framed prayer that the reader contemplates before delivering that week's scriptural readings in front of the church congregation. Among the many beautiful lines in this prayer were these lines: "Not person, but thy likeness may men see. I pray that thy voice and only thine be heard, that rings out with thy love so clear and sweet. It gives the perfect meaning of thy word, for I too listen humbly at thy feet." These lines remind the reader of their sacred role in guiding others with the highest virtues in mind, so high in fact that their ego might as well disappear, leaving only the reflection or image of divine love or truth at the podium. And if our bodies are temples, as the saying goes, then we too can reveal godliness or goodliness at home, at work, among friends, even among interactions with those that challenge us, persecute us. There's a passage in a book from Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures by Mary Baker Eddy, which helps bring these ideas together. The manifestation of God through mortals is as light passing through the window pane. The light and the glass never mingle, but as matter, the glass is less opaque than the walls. The mortal mind through which truth appears most vividly is that one which has lost much materiality, much error, in order to become a better transparency for truth. Then, like a cloud melting into thin vapor, it no longer hides the sun. Similarly, this image of illumination is one that Plato and Socrates used in the allegory of the cave, where the highest good is represented by the brilliant sun, you may recall. The Quran too uses the same imagery in Surah An-Nur, or Chapter of the Light, where it says, "God is the light of the heavens and of the earth." The Prophet Muhammad carries this imagery forward in his personal prayer, or Dua of Light, of which reads in part, "O God, place in my heart light, place in my soul light, magnify for me light, amplify for me light, make for me light, make me light. O God, grant me light, increase me in light, increase me in light, increase me in light, grant me light upon light." This prayer encapsulates how we can go from our current level of illumination, our expression of divine qualities, to the level of brightness that is possible for us when Jesus says in the Sermon on the Mount, "You are the light of the world. Let your light shine before others." As we practice perfection by doing the thing that is the most loving, compassionate, fair, just, wise, harmonious, forgiving, generous, patient, or humble, in the situations before us, we shine brighter and brighter as a guiding light and beacon of hope before others. I'll now conclude with a prayer, which you are welcome to join me in. Dear God, let your will and my will become one, so that my life is a continual act of service in your name. Dear God, guide me and keep my body, mind, and soul ever in your service, so that I may be the perfect vessel for your love's perfect unfolding. Let my desires reflect the purity, purpose, and precision of your immutable desire. Let my thoughts mirror the wisdom, clarity, and harmony of your thoughts. Let my eyes and ears see and hear the truth, justice, and peace which you observe in perpetuity. Let my hands create with the inspiration, grace, and beauty of your hands. Let my heart remain open and expansive and dedicated to joyous service in your name. And let my arms remain open in prayerful gratitude as they receive joy and the countless blessings of your favor. Through your grace, I become a polished mirror which reflects your perfect love in thought, word, and deed. Through you, my life becomes your loving breath upon this world and all those I encounter in it. As my will merges with yours, I dissolve into your light with the same mystery through which I emerge from your light. To reflect the qualities of divine love is then the highest form of integrity that I know. As always, my friends, if these ideas inspire you, hit the like and subscribe button on your way out. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. And if you feel called to work deeper on these ideas as you center your life on divine principles, reach out to me directly via the link in description, and I look forward to meeting you and getting to know how I can support you and your goals. Until next time, may peace be with you.